All right. Welcome in on the clock NFL Draft Show. This is episode number 25. This evening, we're starting a little bit of a series. For a few weeks, we're going to be diving in. We're going to be ranking the conferences. We're going to be ranking the top teams in each conference with the most high end draftable prospects. So we're talking guys day one, day two, rounds 1 through 3. So I'm joined by my guy Nino at Nino Brown _T2T. He's the mayor of college football, and this is like a happy union here. Like, I'm huge into the draft. I love the draft. Nino's huge into college. You know him from CFB Nation, from T2T, from CFB Prime. So all that good stuff. So I kind of, I'm like, hey, Nino, I'm thinking this. And he's like, I got you. He develops the list. I trust his judgment. I watch the prospects, and we are going to discuss them all for you this evening. My guy, Frank Thomas, the big hurt, Nino Brown. What's happening?
I'm good. Ken Griffey Jr. over there, rocking that
Yes.
Mariners jersey. Yeah, it's going to be a fun, special one. When you asked me to get the prospects, I was excited for it because some people don't know. Like, they're all into what came out right just recently. Those are the shiny new toys. So we get to bring them, the ones that they're going to ask for to Santa's Christmas list next year. And I think there's a couple of guys just in the Big Ten that we're breaking down in this episode that you might not have known, but you're going to want to know really, really soon.
Yeah, and you're going to want to stay tuned to the end because we're counting down from 4 to 1. We're starting with the school with a few, next school with a few, school with some more, and then a school with the most. So stay tuned all the way through this thing. But you're kind of talking about like how, people, they're more focused on what's now. And that was me last year until, I used to like, shout out to Shane Hallam. He was somebody who was a big resource for me for a while. And now you're kind of becoming that resource for me where, you give me, well, I mean, like, you gave me a list and I watched that list. But also draftcountdown.com. He's got a list. Shane, Brian Bosarge. So there's resources. And I used to kind of have the list and I wouldn't really start till October. And now doing this, starting a little earlier, it's making me more comfortable with my process. I kind of wish I would have done this in the past. And, the Senior Bowl, you gave us all lists. So like, hey, here's what we need to, here's the guys. This is what we need to do. And it was like I was on the airplane cramming. And this year's not going to be like that because we're starting the process early on.
Yeah, absolutely. So like I said to you earlier today, I'm like, I know you're more of the NFL guy. You do like the college side. You would watch more college, but then you wouldn't have a wife and a family, right? So I understand. But yeah, I said to you, this is more like my lane, so I'm kind of comfortable, already. But I know you sicko like me, and you just go down the rabbit hole, and that's the end of it.
Yeah.
So, like, it's how I get to talk college football with anybody. I'm gassed, and then we get to tie it into a draft. You know what I mean? Which it's just your world. I'm good. I'm excited.
Yeah. And we were talking today, like, things have been busy. You've been busy. I've been busy. And, it's one thing to grind tape. But then once you find somebody that like, you're like, all right, this guy's not a tier 1 prospect, but this guy's fun.
Yes.
Like, it's fun being able to enjoy that now, not having to wait till January, February. Like, we get a little bit of a longer time and we'll find some more diamonds in the rough throughout the process. But I do want to give a shout out to our guys, KT. He is the governor of college football at Leverett _KT, and Boomer. He's just Boomer at Jared Gray. That dude's always running around. He's helping us out. You guys broke down the quarterback competition between Ryan Tannehill, Malik Willis, and Will Levis. Why don't you talk about that a little bit before we get started?
Yeah, I mean, everybody knows me that I'm a Will Levis guy. I've been on the planting my flag a long time ago. But I'm not stupid. Like, I've always said, like, what he needs to work on or whatever. And I said, I have a little concerns, like, when it comes to what I see on film, the good and the bad. Everybody's throwing for the accuracy ball, and he's 3 for 9, and 6 of them don't hit the board. And Tannehill and Willis are more accurate. Yeah, but there's a lot to the process, and there's a lot that they don't show you unless you go looking for it or talk to people that are there. So I'm not saying Will Levis is going to be the guy week 1, because I do believe Tannehill is QB1 right now. But we break it down good, and you'd be surprised at what me and Boomer get down to at the end, where somebody's on the outs, and it might not be the guy that you're thinking.
Man, what's been fun, like you guys talked about Baker Mayfield and Kyle Trask a
Yeah.
week or two ago. And I have, so if you comment, which it'd be greatly appreciated if you're watching on YouTube, like, subscribe, and comment. And if you comment, I'm the one interacting with you from the T2T handle. So if you comment and you see a reply, that's me. So I've been seeing them throughout the day, all of these comments that this video is getting.
Yeah.
And people are fighting with each other.
That's what you want, though.
Yeah.
That's what we want. It's you're getting views and interaction, engagement that you don't even have to be involved in. It took off like a rocket. I think it's at like 1,500 views in a week, and I think we're going to do a couple more in the series. I talked to Boom. I think we're going to do the Purdy, Donald, Trey Lance breakdown. I think we're also going to start doing a little bit of the running back battles. I think we're going to break off the Detroit one, where it's going to be Montgomery, Gibbs, and who's going to really come out the gate hot first. So stay tuned, because I'm sick in the brain, and this stuff is pretty much all I do. So
man, if you do the Detroit one, speaking of David Montgomery, where'd he come from? He came from Chicago.
That's another
Khalil Herbert and Roshan Johnson. That's another very interesting.
Miami, with A-Chain and Mosfer and what's the guy? Jeff Wilson. So there's just a lot. There's a lot that we can break, that we're going to be breaking down. So stay tuned.
All right, but we're here to talk college football. So we're starting, like I said, so each week over the next few weeks, we're going to be breaking down some conferences. We're going to be breaking down top-heavy teams with top-heavy draft classes, right? So we're talking teams that have day 1, day 2, round 1 through 3 talent. This week, it's the Big Ten. We're starting here, okay? And we're starting with Wisconsin. So, Nino, you came up with a list. You gave me 2 names. We got Braylon Allen and we got Jack Nelson. So tell me a little bit of your thoughts on these 2 players and kind of where you think they fit in the upcoming NFL draft class.
All right. Well, I mean, if you know anything about college football, anything in the last 2 seasons, you've known that this young gentleman by the name of Braylon Allen is an absolute monster at the position, right? I mean, 6'2", 240. He's just turned 19 years old, right? He was 17 years old when he first enrolled at school at Wisconsin. So, like, first year as literally a freshman, 186 carries, 186 carries, 1,268 yards, and he had 12 touchdowns on top of that. So then the next year, now mind you, this gentleman has had poor play. And I'm not trying to knock Graham Mertz, okay? But Graham Mertz's play in Wisconsin was subpar, okay? So they were stacking boxes against this gentleman, and he was feasting, physically shifty. Like, he just gets it done. He is going to be top 5, top 3 probably target for running backs in the first round next year. If he comes out, he is eligible to come out, right? I'm assuming he's going to come out. I think a lot of people are taking that he's going to come out, but this dude is just him. Like, he is Wisconsin running back. You get that Jonathan Taylor vibe, a guy who probably can handle 280, 300 carries. I wouldn't be surprised this year. There's a whole different game plan going around, right? The new coaching staff, new QB, new wide receivers. I wouldn't be surprised if this gentleman got maybe 25 more carries, but you're going to see some receptions out of the backfield. This gentleman's draft stock is going to rise. He, like I said, he's going to be a target for a lot of teams. I said to you, I think, the Giants are going to be targeting this gentleman, especially with all the Saquon drama. I know our guy is there, okay, Eric Gray.
Right.
But he's had a little bit of injury history. I don't know if he could be a bell cow. Most NFL teams aren't going bell cows unless these guys are young, big, and fast, and you can get those 4 years for cheap.
Right.
Braylon Allen is a first-round draft pick this year.
And you think he's first?
Yeah, I think he could be a back-end first draft pick.
Okay. Yeah, and that depends on how well the Giants do. Say Jalen Hyatt exceeds expectations.
Yes.
Say Darren Waller exceeds expectations. Say Daniel Jones exceeds expectations. Guess what? The passing game looks great. Giants make the playoffs. What do they need? They just need it back. Say their offensive line's doing well. They got Andrew Thomas.
Right.
They got I can't even pronounce the other guy. Who's the other offensive lineman they drafted last year?
You want me to pronounce that name?
Yeah,
I'm the guy with terrible with names, and you want me to go that route. But yeah, I know
you know what I'm saying.
Yes.
Then it's a luxury pick. A running back in the first round is a luxury pick. They would afford that luxury because they hit on Hyatt and they hit on Waller. And they got Daniel Jones for arguably, so decent. And they watched the Cowboys do that with Tony Romo, and it didn't necessarily work out with Romo. It worked out for Dak, but he was 20, Zeke, coming into the NFL. This kid's what, going to be 19, 20 years old. He's going to be able to handle it. He played in a cold environment,
exactly,
like where the Giants are. So I like him for Pittsburgh. I know they don't need him.
Minnesota,
Minnesota, Baltimore. Like you put this cat somewhere where they're going to run downhill at you over and over again. New York could do that. Maybe with the ball, maybe that's kind of the back he wants. Maybe he doesn't want a shifty outside the tackles. Maybe he wants a guy who's going to punch you in the face over and over again and make it easier on Daniel Jones.
I'll tell you what, you say not shifty, right? Play inside the tackles. He gets out past that line and gets out past the tackles. He's an upright runner with burst, man. He just pulls away, and like I said, he's still a young cat. Now, I said last year, and it almost happened had Atlanta not scooped Bijan before Philly. Philly was primed, right? They could have taken a running back. They went out, and because he was gone, then what did they go do? They went and got Swift.
Right.
So they were primed for Bijan in that position.
Right.
And they had, at the time, nothing really to lose. And then, obviously, free agency hit.
Philly's going to see, they're going to keep an eye on how Jonathan Taylor adapts to playing in the read option offense with Anthony Richardson. If that works well, they'll be like, all right, let me bring in Braylon Allen, and maybe that'll work out. But I understand. I put him at my notes. He is a lineman helper because he is very good at knifing through traffic and anticipating the blocks and not making his linemen look bad, making them look good. And it's easy to make your linemen look good when you have a guy like Jack Nelson, offensive tackle, the other player that was listed, 6'7", dude. In 2021, he played guard. So they got sick. I wonder how much he grew from 2021 to 2023. But right now he's 6'7", started 13 games as a freshman. 2022, he played in 12 games, 12 starts at left tackle, recorded an 83.1 blocking rating via PFF, the highest for the Badgers and the best since Pro Bowl lineman Tyler Biadasz. Okay, so, not a huge name, but he's a Pro Bowl lineman. In Wisconsin, they just, what do? They churn out dudes who can play in the NFL. 2022 All Big Ten honorable mention, 2021 All Big Ten honorable mention, and both times academic All Big Ten. So this cat, offensive tackles, we watched last year, names just rise. You think there's 3 guys going in the first round, and all of a sudden everybody wants one. You got 7, 8 guys going. So what are your thoughts on Jack Nelson?
He is a above average run blocker, right? He's a great pass protector. Like he gonna keep your QB upright, clean. His height and length is just on the offensive line. It's just absolutely, it's needed. Like I said, 6'7", 310. You put maybe 10 more pounds on him, he gets to the next level. And this is a guy you're gonna have trouble moving around. Like even with these, guys coming off the edge of these hybrid guys. Like, usually when you get the tall guys like that, they're able to get around. But
Carolina ain't gonna be drafting him.
No. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But yeah, I like him. I like him a lot. Former 4-star. I think he's going to be a guy. Listen, I've been saying with Boomer for a while now. There's a possibility you could get 4, 5 offensive linemen in the first round. Okay.
Well,
I'm not saying he's a first round guy. I'm just saying he could be back end. It depends on what teams need. There's probably going to be. I'm going to go out there and say now it's very, very early. 4 or 5 guys in the first round offensive lineman.
Let's see how he moves for a big guy. If he can move for a big guy, if he can protect his quarterback, I think the versatility, I think Boomer said last year during the combine, versatility was like the most overused word. This guy's got inside, outside flex. And even if he's not a great run blocker, the experience at guard, I'm sure helped him become a little bit better. But let's move on to our number 3 team in the Big Ten. That's the Penn State Nittany Lions. So they have 3 guys you believe, and I believe because you believe, will be day 1 and day 2 prospects. And one of them is Ola Fashanu, offensive tackle. I think I took him last year like 14th in the first mock we did. So I believed in this guy. He's 6'6". Here are some 2022 awards. He was named a Walter Camp second-team All-American, recognized as a third-team All-American by Phil Steele, earned second-team All-Big Ten honors from the coaches and third-team by the media, picked up the Associated Press All-Big Ten second-team honors, earned All-Big Ten second-team honors from Phil Steele. So the list goes on and on. Here's the big numbers. Started 8 games at left tackle in 2022, allowed 0 sacks and 281 pass blocking snaps, named the coaching staff's offensive player of the game twice. This dude's a big fella. You want to talk about protecting the quarterback. He's nasty. He's big. He's physical. And he keeps his quarterback upright and clean.
He is, for me, offensive lineman number one,
Okay.
hands down. I know a lot of people have Notre Dame as O lineman one. I mean, this dude, you get him in space, he's good, right? He can do it. His hips, his leverage, everything he does well. He's got heavy hands, but he can move them well. He
Right.
fights off. You got like he's out there with oven mitts, just throwing guys around. So, uh,
Oven
why do you
mitts.
think Singleton and Katron Allen are just exploding right
Right.
off that line? They get guys like that to just dominate. He is the best offensive lineman right now in college football.
My brain's going right now. I'm thinking of a way we can do power rankings for all these teams. So when we're done with this series, we could like
Yeah.
what if we go through, we keep track of this. So listener at home, I'm sorry, but this is the brainstorming process we usually have via message.
Yeah.
What if we rank each player 1 through however many we do, right? When
Okay.
this is all said and done. And then we go back and count each number. So we give a certain amount of credit per each number. And then we could rank like this is the most. I mean, it'd probably be obvious because the one team at the end of this that everybody probably knows we're going
Yeah.
to talk about, like it's probably going to be obvious. So maybe we don't even need to go this far, but we could do something like this to rank the teams based upon, how high their players are,
I'll tell you something else. There's a team in the SEC that can give them a run for their money if they can stay in the top three.
Okay.
But they got a
All right.
quarterback problem. So
All right. We'll mess around with that, but there'll probably be a much easier way to do it. But there's another player. I haven't watched him yet. So there's 3 players on this list. I watched 2 of them. This next guy, I love his name, Chop Robinson, defensive end, and I'm excited for your analysis on this cat.
Bro, listen, I'm going to tell you something right now. Chop Robinson is an absolute machine, okay? This dude gets it on. He's quick off the outside, okay? 2022 awards. He was all Big Ten honorable mention, right, by the coaches and media. This is what you put in the notes, all right? He was all Big Ten second team selection, right? He earned the Reed Robinson Outstanding Defensive Lineman Award. My man in 12 games had 26 tackles, 19 of them solo. He had 10 tackles for loss. That guy is a grizzly bear that lives in the backfield. Like I'm going to play the lawn chair, and as soon as you call hike, I'm about to rip your face off. He just dominates off the side. I said to in multiple mock drafts, and they're primed, depending on how they fall. If my Patriots were in the position in the first round to get Chop Robinson, I'm all in. This guy is a game changer, okay? He's got length, right? 6'4", 250, runs a 4.6 40.
Damn.
Well, you want to talk about explosive first step off the line? Bro, he
6'4", 250, 4.6.
Yo, he's making offense.
What are they feeding these guys? Like Penn State.
Yeah, dude.
I don't think they don't scout and recruit from anywhere in the nation. They got a ship. They're in space because these dudes are aliens. Yes. Everybody they've been getting, like Owe, Parsons, Gesicki, Barkley, like they're just putting out freaks of nature.
Yeah, he got a good dip move. He gets around the edge. That first step is explosive, and he got that little like hitch move. Like if fake, he's gonna go and cut right back in. Like he got that. He's a dude. He's gonna, man. I'm excited to see what he does this year for Penn State.
That's like the Euro step, right? Is that kind of
that's the Euro step? Yes.
Yeah.
I didn't want to,
right.
We already got the baseball going. I didn't want to go the NFL route.
But I think it's in, man. I think that it's.
A lot of running backs to possess it.
Yeah.
It's the Euro step, the slow like cut. But like these guys off the edge, Micah does it. Micah does it too. TJ Watt does it. I mean, you got that. It's like a quick study. You catch him. You get him just to turn the weight, the momentum to go one way, and then you just flip it the other way. He's a dude. He's gonna dominate. Listen, go back and watch the Michigan game. Okay, go back and watch Ohio State. You want to watch in prime time a dude. He's gonna put pressure on any QB. It don't matter who you are. It don't matter how big your offensive lineman. He's going to make them guys work. They're going to be on their heels. They're going to be hurting. You better ice them heels up by the end of the game because they're going to be backpedaling all day. Better have a good set of cleats.
All right, well, the next guy, Kalen King, DB, safety, 16 passes defended in 2022, which was the number 1 in Big Ten. Yeah. I think, so my notes, plays bigger than his size, sets the edge. So he's when things are in front of him in zone, and also when he's got the receiver coming at him, somebody's coming out of the backfield, he sees things happen and he's quick to react. He's got a quick trigger. He's got good hand-eye reaction instinct. So he's good like playing football through the wide receiver. And I noted, I already said this already. The diagnosis plays well. One knock I had on him. When he comes down, he's patient at the line of scrimmage, keeping the wide receiver in front of him. I like to see his feet a little bit quicker, going side to side. But so doesn't have the length of some of the higher end corners we've seen come out over the past few years. And then you look in Penn State last year, Joey Porter Jr., but he's tough. He's physical. He's in your face. He's got the ball skills. He's got the production, like all the things you would look for, and the experience, because he's played against some of the best wide receivers in the nation since he's been at Penn State University. He was second team All-American by the Walter Camp Foundation last year, third team All-American by Pro Football Focus, honorable mention All-American by Phil Steele. So what are your thoughts on Kalen King out of Penn State?
Well, I'm just going to start off. You mentioned Joey Porter Jr., right? And I said that Denzel Burke is a lockdown DB, and teams didn't throw him. Went from 12 pass breakups to 5, right? People didn't challenge Joey Porter. He was a dude. So what are they challenging Kalen King? Okay, you challenged Kalen King, and he had 16 pass defenses, pass breakups, 16. All right, this dude, he had 3 picks. Like, you want to test me? Come test me. You ain't winning this test. Like, that's the eye test to me. If you're a dude, right, you got a lockdown corner, they're going to pick on number 2, right? That's why I like Storm Duck when he was with Tony Grimes, because he was the other guy at UNC.
Great name.
Right? Absolutely. I wish he would have went to Oregon, because it just would have been perfect. Right? But you challenged Storm, and he was good. So he stepped up to the table. Kalen stepped up to the table. Like, this kid can play. He loves the challenge. You did say he's got a little bit of a hands issue, right? And I said it sometimes he coming out of the break, he kind of like has his shoelaces tied together and stumbles a little bit, and then causes him to have to, trail.
Right.
He could clean that up. He doesn't really get penalized too much for the hands issue. I do notice he is handsy, but he doesn't really get called on it too much. But I like how he can play press without really being press. You know what I'm saying? Like, you don't have to be.
He's a good mirror guy.
And he's a good head guy. You can tell that he's talking smack at the line of scrimmage. Right. You can just tell he is. You got that confidence. He got that swagger, bro. I think he can top 5.
Yeah. Like what I see with him, when I watch him, you can tell what coaches saw when they put him on the defensive side of the football. Like, you know what I mean? Like when the ball's within 5 yards of the receiver, he gets a hand on it, but he doesn't have that natural open the hip turn, become the receiver. It's more so like, I'm just going to find a way to make sure you don't catch it.
Athleticism.
Yeah.
His athleticism is off the charts. You know what I mean?
Right.
But yeah, I'm with you 100%, but he got that, like, I ain't quitting ever.
Right. Love it. All right. I do want to mention before we move on to team number 2, patreon.com/toilets to title if you want to support the team. We got 5 tiers from $1.50 all the way up to $20, and each tier gets you something special. And we go to things like the NFL draft, the Senior Bowl, the Combine, this year the Shrine Bowl. We're going to be doing all sorts of stuff. I know CFB Nation, you're going to media days, right? Like, which media day you got coming up?
ACC. I'm pulling Adam Schefter. I'm taking a red eye, flying in Thursday morning at 5, landing for 7, doing the whole day, staying to make sure the content gets out, flying out at 9.
Trying to link up with Drake May, trying to link up with Dabo Sweeney. Like, I'm seeing the stuff going on in the background. Yeah. So all of these things are made possible by Patreon. Patreon.com/toilets titles. Help support the team so we can do these things, so we can bring you this live content and get you as close as possible to these players, to these coaches. And then if you're in the Patreon, you're in our exclusive chat, you can ask us questions that we could ask these players for you. All right. So that's all that good stuff. All right. Let's move on to team number 2. All right. Michigan. We're going to start with Donovan Edwards. Okay. Yeah. Donovan Edwards, I know Blake Corum, he's the guy.
Hold on. Before we go, I got to know before we break this down, right?
Okay.
Corum or Edwards for you?
I like Edwards.
Okay, we're good. I was gonna have to break out the whistle. No, I was gonna have to break out. No,
who do you like?
I'm Edwards all day.
Okay, so I was surprised. I thought you were a Corum guy. So I think Edwards. I think from what I've seen, because I'm kind of late to the party. I was focusing on this year's draft class, and so I've seen more talk about Corum than Edwards. So when I watched them, I was expecting Corum to be better than Edwards. But everything about Edwards to me says prototypical NFL running back. I love his size. I love his tenacity. He was number 1 in the Big Ten in rushing yards per attempt with 7.1 in 2022. And that was with 140 carries, right? Like this wasn't with like, he wasn't the, third, like satellite back, like just kind of coming in, chunk yardage, 140 carries in the Big Ten. 7.1 yards per carry is worth more in the Big Ten than it's worth in the Pac-12. I'm sorry. It is.
Yeah.
These guys are playing tenacious, tough, aggressive, nasty, and in 30-degree weather. All right. So your feet move a little bit slower. 7.1 is like, it's ridiculous. So 991 yards, 7 touchdowns, 18 receptions for 200 yards, downhill banger, forces defenders at the second level to make business decisions. I love that about him. Power, but also has that breakaway speed. He's not very shifty. Like I don't see too much twitch to his game. North-south guy, but that's okay with me. And he makes it work. He knows how to make it work. He's got good hands. He showed in a back shoulder fade. Like there's a running back out of the backfield running a back shoulder fade. So he's got body control. He's got awareness. He's got hand-eye coordination. So I think the fact that he's shared time with Blake Corum also means he's got limited touches, which also means if I'm an NFL team, I got more mileage on this cat, right? Because he wasn't Braylon Allen. He wasn't given 230 carries and then 250. So what are your thoughts on this cat?
I mean, he wasn't given the carries. His prospect coming out of high school was a 5-star. All right, this kid was all the hype. Now, 7.1 yards per carry, behind probably up until his ACL injury on his knee. One of the top Heisman candidates, running back that we've seen in a while, right? I mean, Blake Corum was getting jiggy. All right, I'm not the guy. Boom is the Corum guy, but he was getting jiggy. But to quote my boy, John Lobb, 7.1 yards? Are you kidding me? Like that's just not normal, right? He was getting it done, and he was getting it done on the big stage against the biggest boys. Week 5 against Penn State, 16 attempts for 173 yards. That's 10.8 yards per carry, 2 touchdowns. All right. Oh, Ohio State.
And it wasn't like their passing attack was like so elite that teams,
bro. And that's the thing that irked me was when Cade was gone, right, and it was a JJ train. They were supposed to modify the offense, right? It was supposed to be let JJ cook. We're gonna air the ball out. It aired nothing out until it came to like the playoffs, and then we were like, oh, where was this team? Like, where was this all of a sudden? Didn't have enough of it because you met TCU, and the rest is history. But Donovan Edwards against Ohio State in Week 9, 22 attempts, 216 yards, 9.8 yards per carry, 2 touchdowns. All right. Then the very next week against Purdue, another Big Ten matchup, 25 carries, 185 yards, 7.1 yards per carry, and a touchdown. And then, yes, they lost to TCU, 23 carries for 119 yards. Like, but that's workhorse, bell cow type stuff.
Carrying the team.
And he got hands. Yeah, he may not be the shiftiest guy, but you get this guy in the open field, he's a natural playmaker. Look out. Right. I would have him all day in the open field. He is going to get saucy. He's going to make people look stupid. He's got hands for a running back. Like you said, over the shoulder. He has, anticipation, knows where to be, knows how to bail out his QB. And he's got the opportunity with the backfield, but he could be the guy for the early season and never have to give that up because this gentleman's coming off a major knee injury. Blake Corum's coming off a major knee injury, and we haven't heard nothing about it.
Talk to us about Blake Corum. Talk to us.
Blake Corum is a dude. Okay, Blake Corum is the overall running back. He can get down. I mean, we saw him last year. He had, I think it was close to 1,600 yards, 1,500 yards. Is that what it was?
1,463, 5.9 yards per carry.
18 touchdowns, right? And then he had 11 receptions. So, he's evasive. His vision is, I feel like he's Cyclops out there. Boop, boop, just finding lanes. Then he hits the Tiger Woods tunnel vision, and I'm gone. Hey, he can make you look stupid coming out the hole. He got some shiftiness. He can get loose in a phone booth and make you miss. I worry about the knee. You haven't heard nothing about it.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And usually when they keep things hush-hush, it's for a reason. All right? And the fact that they have this kid in Edwards that can literally be the bell cow, and you don't have to bring Corum in right away. But he came back for a reason, right? He could have hit the NFL draft and been drafted high. He's a dude. If they go 50-50, that's probably going to be one of the top 2 running back duos in the country. And the other duo is probably going to be Penn State with Nickel Singleton and Katron Allen. They have dudes. So I worry about the knee. But outside of that knee, if he's fully healthy, if he can get anywhere close to what he did last year, man, this kid could give you like Zach Charbonnet plus.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Zach Charbonnet plus. He's I think personally better athlete, better natural running back.
I love it. I love it. I'm going to touch on these two guys because we got to move on to this next team. And they got a lot of players we're going to need to discuss. So I'm going to talk on Junior Colson, linebacker, 6'2", 235 pounds, led the Big Ten with 101 tackles, 6'2", size and range. He's a big physical thumper. I don't think he's as quick twitchy as a linebacker we're going to talk about in a little. Like, I don't think he's as straight line speed explosive. But for a guy who's big like him, he's very good with angles. And he can make sure a running back doesn't get to the edge. I love how he comes downhill. He looked pretty good in pass rush, and he knew when to time his blitz on his delayed blitzes to get through the linemen. Knows how to stay clean when linemen were released into the second level. He did a good job of keeping his eyes in the backfield, watching his keys while also avoiding the linemen, which is a skill. Not everybody's got that capability. So that's Junior Colson. So what are your thoughts on him?
Junior Colson is a dude. Okay. Listen, his athleticism is what gets me. 4.22 shuttle, right? 4.58 40, 37-inch vertical. Like that's a guy.
4.5. So I didn't see that play speed.
A 4.58
Damn.
With a 4.22 shuttle.
Do you see that on tape?
He flashes it.
Okay.
If you look at the Ohio
State,
I'm
not saying he's slow, but like when I watched Eichenberg, all right,
but you got to understand, he's flying around with the guys that are flying around. So instantly, like that's going to make these guys look fast. You know what I'm saying? Like, everybody in Ohio State is they just pop, right? Colston is in a defense. You see it when he shoots the gap. Okay, when he's shooting gaps, you see that speed because once he gets downhill, and then sometimes it's hard for him to like pull it back. So his missed tackle rate he needs to work on a little bit, but. He's a guy. I think his athleticism is good. Like former 4-star, right? Coming out. He to me gives me like slight Clay Walker vibes. Like a run. He just run. You know what I'm saying? You put him in a division where they run heavy. This kid's going to get you 100 plus every year.
Yeah.
Right.
Jared loves Quay, so that's.
You know what I mean? He tackles well. Wraps up. Like I like that. Pass coverage. Not something I would personally. Like he's okay, but when you get talking about getting downhill, getting to the runner, getting to the quarterback, he can do that.
Right, I like it. So that Mike, so it might not be 3 down all the time, but he'll be strong side linebacker, or on 3 down linebacker next to a guy who's kind of the nickel linebacker that calling the defense, being the dot guy. All right, Roman Wilson, this guy. I thought this dude was a lot of fun. So if they have a wide receiver coach, Coach Bellamy stated that Wilson will play the Ronnie Bell role this year. More explosive, more dynamic. Those were your words I've seen everybody use about this cat. The question, though, was the consistency because through 3 years, only 900 receiving yards. But we were talking about Joey Porter and how teams don't target him. And when I was watching Roman Wilson, he scored 2 touchdowns facing Joey Porter. So, and one thing I liked about this guy, I saw, that Deshaun Jackson step back jump cut he does after the catch when he's on the sideline. Like I saw that. That flashed. He's good at framing the football. I saw that against a guy like Joey Porter. Like Joey Porter was on the guy. Like blanket coverage. He does a good job, Roman Wilson, of framing the football because he's a little bit of a smaller guy. He's slight. He's quick. He's explosive. I think he's going to probably play inside at the NFL. He does a good. He knows how to. Some receivers are natural hands catchers. Some receivers are going to go out and get it. Some key receivers are body catchers all the time. He's whatever means necessary. Like if I got to go get it this way, if I got to get it this way, if I got to get it this way. So I think there's potential for this guy, but I'm excited to see, can he step up? What does he do with an expanded role this year?
He had 2 touchdowns against Joey Porter 2 years ago. And then he only had 4 for 29 against Joey Porter this year. All right. So Joey was aware. Okay. Joey understood he got burnt. Maybe
he only had like 300 yards total last year.
That's my thing. Okay. Can he be is he going to play that Ronnie Bell role? I don't know if he can like,
to me, they're both so different.
That's Ronnie Bell's taller, right? Ronnie Bell's more of a taller receiver.
But he's also like, I don't think he's this guy's snappy. This guy I want to put in space. Like I want to run like I want to run bubble screens.
I mean,
I want to,
yeah, that's what I'm saying. He gives me
Yeah.
like he don't have the speed of Kadarius Toney or the separation off the line, but he gives me that like the gadget guy, and that's where I get
Yeah.
like a Rondell Moore type player. But I don't
Right.
think he can play across the middle like Rondell did, at Purdue. But
Right. Dude, Rondell was a dude.
it was an absolute. See, the thing is to me, when you only get 40 targets, 25 receptions,
Mhm.
yeah, they're gonna let JJ cook. If JJ's gonna cook, then Romosa can have a year,
Mhm.
right? Because he can get open if you give him time. Like you get it's trick plays,
Right.
like you said, bubble screens. He can yak up 25 yards real quick down the sideline.
Mhm.
But I don't know if that offense is built that way. That's
Right.
my problem.
And he shouldn't be your one. He should be the guy who complements your one.
Yes.
Like defenses are focused on this alpha, run a deep drag route while the other guy takes the top off the defense. Like find ways. I don't think he's built that way. He's just fun. He's flashed, and I'm excited to see what he can do with an expanded role, and we'll see. But yeah, when I read that about him and Bell, like Bell's just different.
Yeah.
Bell's,
Like
in route, post route, comeback route, move the chains like that, kind of third down. Who are we looking to move the chains? Oh, our guy, Ronnie Bell. And then occasionally he'll stretch the defense. Like, I don't think this guy is as reliable or dependable.
no, like I said, Ronnie Bell had close to 1,000 yards last year. I don't know if this gentleman can withstand all that, like that amount of like work. You know what I mean?
And then we saw Ronnie Bell at the Senior Bowl, and
yes,
impressive.
exactly.
Yeah. And like, so if you're reaching for that, and then we saw that, and that was only that, like,
yes,
you know what I mean? Different
I
ways of enunciating that to make a point. All right, Ohio State. We got a few minutes. We got a lot of guys to touch on. We've touched on Marvin Harrison Jr.
Yeah,
We've touched on Emeka Ibuka. Do you want to just touch on them both real quick before we move on to some of the rest of these guys? Why don't we talk on Harrison, Ibuka, and Henderson? Kind of talk on the offensive, flashy guys.
There's a chance that Emeka Ibuka could be the wide receiver one if Marvin Harrison Jr. wasn't in college football. I mean, that's how good he is. Okay, and we've seen it when Harrison went down in the playoff. Right, Ibuka just ate. He ate the whole time. Right, and people are going to say, "Well, he was facing the number 2." I'm no BS. This dude is just as good as any school's one, if not better. Like he is top 3 wide receiver.
And there were times ones were dodging Marvin Harrison Jr. and he was eating them up. So come on.
I mean, like 74 receptions for 1,151 yards, 10 touchdowns. This guy's average depth of target was like 12 yards. I mean, he had 15.6 yards per reception. He's 13th in the nation, and he wasn't even the number 1, dude. Like 7 yards per reception. He had 40 more yards after the catch than Hyatt in 2022. And people say, oh, Hyatt, and I was one of them, and I still believe it. Hyatt was a broken play guy. I mean, his route running isn't that great. Emeka Ibuka's route running is good. Like Emeka Ibuka is a dude.
Right. Well, anybody coached by Brian Hartline, like in that wide receiver room.
Right, but coming in, he was the guy. He was the dude coming in.
Right.
Harrison's got to step up. I think, he needs to step up. I think he has a step up on everybody.
Right.
And the fact that his quarterback, McCord, is this dude from prep school coming in, like that connection is going to be something to see. Is Kyle McCord CJ Stroud? I don't know. We don't know. We haven't seen it yet, right? But I think he's an above average QB. In my eyes, I think he could possibly get himself into like a top 7 QB for this class if he has a year, right? So Marvin Harrison is him. I think you're going to see a little more spying on Marvin Harrison this year. I don't know. Like everybody's like all the hype. You know how DBs are, right? And you know how defensive coordinators are. They've been talking about how when they went to the pro day for CJ Stroud, everybody was talking about how Marvin Harrison would have been the number 1 wide receiver in this draft, how they were just couldn't take their eyes off. Like that's got to get to these guys, especially guys in the Big Ten. Like,
especially guys who want to make their own money.
Exactly.
You want to make some money and make a name for yourself. You lock down Marvin Harrison.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
It's a tall order, but they're, these guys, they're all alphas. They're going to want it. They're going to, a lot of them are going to try and fail.
Yeah. They're gonna get posterized, and you know what it is. But like I've said before, and I'll stand by this. You can go back and watch Marvin Harrison Sr.'s tape in college, right? Go back and watch Marvin Harrison Jr.'s tape up until right now. He is at a level that's ahead of his father at this moment right now. He is a better overall wide receiver right now at this stage where they both were. He is better. No, can he be better than his father? Because Marvin Harrison was dude. I've always said, would Marvin Harrison have been that dude if it wasn't for Peyton Manning? Right? Would Reggie Wayne have been that dude if it wasn't for Peyton? When we seen Reggie Wayne in Miami, he was a dude, right? But would he have been that dude at the next level? Because when he went to the Patriots, He only lasted a couple. I know it was the tail end of his career, but he was like, yeah, this is too much for me. I'm good.
Right.
So I don't know. And I'm not saying they're not good wide receivers, but would they have been these top dogs
Right.
for all that time? You know what I mean?
Right.
So Marvin Harrison is just Trayvon Henderson, the running back. Boomer loves him. KT loves him. I shouldn't say KT loves him. KT likes him. KT loves the other gentleman in that backfield. Dallas and I can't think of his other name. That's with an M right now. I've drawn a blank. But
I'll look it up. You go.
my problem is with Trayvon Henderson is, can he stay healthy? And can he eat in a room full of it's like 3 or 4 guys at Ohio State right now when it comes to the running back position, right? So, and they all get carries. So my issue is, can he stay healthy? Because we had Trayvon Henderson.
Williams.
Mayan Williams is a dog. That's the guy I was talking about with the M. And then you have Dallas, right?
Dallin Hayden, but they
yeah.
have Chip. Guy's name is Chip. Chip Trayanum.
That's the fourth
as
guy.
their third. Well, this website has him as third.
So there's 4 guys there that are all willing to go. What do we? So I'm just saying,
right?
There's Traylon 2 years ago gave you them J.K. Dobbin vibes, right? He came out, ooh, look at this guy, got hands, can boom, he's shifty out, coming out the whole way, and he can pass, pass catch. And then last year, even when he played early, we weren't seeing the same. He flashed it, right? And then they started flashing these other guys, and Mayan Williams mid-season just took over the back.
Is he draft? He's not draft eligible.
I believe Mayan Williams is draft eligible. Yes. I'll tell you right now, but my problem is can he stay healthy? Like that's right. My issue. Like, and I don't know. And if he is healthy, yes, but they're in a crowded room, so you have to play above the standard. You got to play above. You have to outperform your counterparts. We'll see what happens. Mayan Williams outperformed his counterparts last year.
Right. In Ohio State, they developed some good backs, just like Wisconsin. So I'm going to talk on Tommy Eichenberg real quick.
I know you like him.
He was number 1 total tackles in 2022 with 77. 2022, he had 7 more. So he had 7 more solo tackles. So I was looking at the stat, and it was interesting to me. I don't know if it's going to be interesting to you, but I like to compare to big names. Jack Campbell had 7 less tackles than him and only had 1 less missed tackle. So, so this guy had 7 more tackles, 1 more missed tackle, kind of evens out. So Jack Campbell went top 20. I think Eichenberg, Jack Campbell had some good short yardage burst scores. I think Eichenberg's super explosive. I don't think he's my knock with Eichenberg is his lower half, his tree trunk. I'd like to see a little bit more size on this guy so he could take on blockers, because he does such a good job of avoiding blockers in college. Everybody in the NFL is a dude. All right. So you're not going to be able to stay clean on a play-by-play basis. So I'd like to see him put a little more size on, but at the college level, you can't knock somebody. It's funny. Today I'm talking to a mother of a kid I coach, and they're doing a track program, and she's like, hey, I told him after track today, like, you did great, you beat everybody. And he goes, yeah, but these kids are all 2nd and 3rd graders. And it's like, well, you beat them. You should have been. So like, you know what I mean? Like, so I tie it all together. Like, I can't knock him for making, college play, like, also, on the other hand, I'd knock him if he wasn't. So good thing he is making these guys miss. He's super explosive, hot feet, quick, short movements. I think he's a foundation piece. I think he's a 3-down backer. He can play 1st, 2nd, 3rd down. He can start, and he can cover. He can close, click and clack. I like this guy. My
only concern with him is he plays down the competition. So when they play lower competition, he kind of just coasts.
Okay.
And I had a knock with the same gentleman coming out of Texas this year, right? And linebacker out of Texas, we all know.
Overshown?
Yes.
Yeah.
He played down the competition. A lot of times he was just
Quinn
out there.
Loves him, by the way.
I'm not saying he was bad.
Yeah.
There was moments like where he just kind of was like out there in space, just doing whatever he wanted to do, because I think he knew he could in those games. But like, you're playing Toledo, you get 5 tackles.
Right.
You're playing Arkansas State, you get 5 tackles. Right. But then you play Penn State and you go out for 15. So it's like, I get it. You're a dude. You play, but you can't take time off. You get to the next level. There is none of that, because, like you said, the guy lined up across from you is just as good, if not better, than you are.
Right.
So that's my concern. I love him. I think he's a top 8, top 6 linebacker. I'm a top 8 linebacker in the class.
Well, tell me about these D linemen. We got Talik Williams. We got JT Tuamalu and Jack Sawyer. So before we go to the secondary, tell me about these D linemen.
All right. So JT Tuimalu is a former 5-star recruit. This dude, I call him TNT because he is tremendously explosive off the line. Okay. He got good dip and bend. He can get under tackles and instantly affect plays because you can just feel his presence coming. He closes like a MFer. This dude is a bottle rocket. He's a good run defender. He can chase down the ball carrier. And if you got a mobile QB, he ain't safe. All right. 13 games, 28 tackles, 16 solo. 10.5 tackles for loss. Okay. That's just a havoc, Rika. 3.5 sacks. And my man got hands, batted down 4.5 passes. So, like, he's athletic. He get up there and knock down balls. Like, this kid is a dude.
And we're seeing IDL, interior defensive linemen, are like Mozzie Smith, Jalen Carter, right? Jordan Davis. Like, these are all first rounders. So the NFL, you kind of used to, they were like, I will wait on interior defensive linemen. They're rising again.
Well, look at the gentleman out of Baylor, right? He was originally supposed to be a first-round draft pick, Ika, right? He fell, right? I think he was a day 2, maybe he was an early day 3 pick, but this is a gentleman too. Like, he's a nose tackle, so not that many people have played that traditional style defense. So like, he was kind of in a lane by himself, and he still got drafted. And what I'm hearing, he's doing pretty well in camp. So, listen, I like JT. Jack Sawyer off the edge, 6'4",
great name.
240, right? Jack the Bull Sawyer. This dude pops off the ball. His first step is stupid. He puts linemen on their heels and on their ass often. Sorry. I said, curse word. I apologize.
Fair.
You know what I mean? He's powerful. He spins off blocks. He got good footwork. 13 games, 24 tackles, 10 solo, 6.5 tackles for loss, 4.5 sacks, and a pass defense. Like, he got hands. I'd like to see him develop a little bit more of like a swim move. You know what I mean? Be able to work that dip a little bit more. He's kind of a little bit raw in that aspect. Like, I like JT more for that. But yeah. Listen.
Well, I mean, if the Bosa's ever come back to campus, those dudes were like textbook. Like, you can learn from those guys.
Yeah. And then 100%. Plus, they're on the phone with those guys.
Right.
And they're all these.
Those guys are technicians. Like, they stay after camp to train all the rookies. Like, hey, learn something from me. I've only been in the league for 3 years, but I'm still going to teach you because I've been studying since I was in 8th grade.
Exactly. We're old.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So back in the day, like, these guys, it wasn't like it is now. Like, even like outside, like, schools, even like competition, like you'll go back and be like, I watched this guy, I went against this guy, or I watched my teammate go against this guy in in games. Now let me hit him up in the NFL, and they're cool. Everybody kind of communicates with each other. You look at tight end nowadays, like all these guys are trying to be better than the next guy, and they're all together. So I love both of them, gentlemen. Talik Williams is kind of unique. 6'3", 318. He runs a 4.58 40 at 318 pounds.
Damn.
Okay. Bruce Feldman's freak list ranked him 66. He's just like unbelievable. Williams is like, his burst off the line is crazy. He's got a 10-yard split of 1.62, right, for a 300-plus pounder. Like, he gets off the line quick. He's living in the gap, and I'm not talking about the clothing store. Right, this guy in the gap will destroy your offensive line. Will just throw people around. This dude is a monster, right? His handwork needs a little bit of polishing, and he's a cut block softy. But you can see the 4-star recruit in him. You can see the talent. He's going to rise this year, especially, where he's at, how good they're going to be.
Those freaks, like those explosive players who, 6'3", 318, being able to move like that, that's coveted. Yeah. Those are the guys that rise like late in the process,
He's gonna be a combine killer, killer, and we all know.
I can't believe I already forgot my boy from Pittsburgh.
TJ Watt?
No, the interior defensive lineman.
Oh,
this year,
Elijah
Cansey.
Yeah.
Brain fart. Yeah. I got too many names in but like, just huge. Like, obviously he had the production too,
right?
But just anybody and also much different because that guy was barely scratching 6 foot and
exactly.
Whatever.
Yeah, right.
So different situations, but also just similar in the fact that they do something elite and special that somebody who plays their position doesn't usually do.
Who was the big man this year that was getting jiggy down the line in the 40-yard dash? There was a big guy, and if you're in the chat or in the comments,
the kid from
he was a big boy, like
Northwestern. The
I
kid from
think
Northwestern?
I think it might have been. I'm not sure, but I know he was a big fella. He was getting jiggy, like
Man, I think
4'6",
his
40
first name
something,
started with an
4'5",
A.
something.
Northwestern. All right, we're running
Duque?
out of
Was he
time,
in
so
Duque?
yeah, I think
I think
that's
it
who.
was Duque.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah.
All right, we got to wrap this thing up. We're closing up 50 minutes. I want to touch on Denzel Burke,
Let's
DB,
go.
length, physicality. This is your guy. All right. I love he's good matchup for those big physical wide receivers. I saw him even on Sam Laporta, covered him real well. But
Yes.
also, like obviously, a lockdown corner should do that. But the physicality he was able to match. So he did what he was supposed to do. But Sam Laporta is known for his yak ability. Didn't get any yak on Denzel Burke. Denzel Burke shut that down quick. You have him as the second best DB in the nation behind Kool-Aid. Can be boom or bust on big hits. So tell me a little bit about your guy, Denzel Burke.
Yeah, sometimes when my guy's coming in and make that big hit and lay the wood, he just the little miss. His missed tackle rate, I like to see it get down. So he can cost you, sometimes extra yardage. But if he keeps you in front of you, and he's staying with you, he's the second best DB in college football. All right, Kool-Aid is my guy. I won't get off that hill ever. But Denzel Burke is physical. Denzel Burke's got a good football IQ. Denzel Burke, excuse me, is a lockdown. He's got lockdown DB with length, size. He's a problem for DBs. And if you a small he's a problem wide receiver. If you a small wide receiver, stay home. You don't want anything to do with this guy. I don't care how twitchy you are. You know what I mean? He'll be physical at the line and that'll throw off your whole game because twitch guys got to be quick. 13 games, right? 28 tackles, 16 solo. No, I'm sorry, wrong person. 34 tackles, 24 solo. He had 5 pass breakups this year, right? Last year he had 12 pass breakups. So they were like, yeah, no. He's a dude. We ain't targeting him no more this year. So Denzel Burke, trust me, you're going to hear his name a lot because he'll be locking down all these number ones in the Big Ten this year. So it's going to be interesting. I want to see him, especially lined up against, Penn State, Dante Cephas this year. That's going to be a task. Cephas is a dude. But then Denzel Burke's a guy. Like, Denzel Burke's up there with the guys this year. Denzel Burke's way better than Manuel Forbes. Manuel Forbes is a dog, right? He got them big plays to the house, whatever it was, 6 touchdowns to the crib last year. But Denzel Burke's better.
Better than Banks? We'll see. Banks had his last year of college. Let's see.
Talent-wise, yeah, I think he's better than Banks.
Okay.
Projected talent-wise. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Well, wait, we got 2 more guys. So why don't you close out these 2 guys? Are these first and second, third round talents, these 2? Because I see them at the bottom of the list here. Mike Hall and Donovan Jackson.
Oh, all right, listen. Mike Hall and Donovan Jackson. Donovan Jackson, I believe, in my eyes, can possibly sneak in to be a first round. He's probably ranked around 7 or 8 for me for offensive lineman, right? 6'4", 300 pounds. He's not the fastest guy, right? He runs 5'2", 40. But a 4.57 shuttle for a big man, that ain't too bad. You see a lot of these big guys are in the high 4s, right? Like, not this gentleman. He's a 5-star recruit at Episcopal High School. He's good with blocks. He exhibits quickness and flexibility, moving to the second level, right? He's capable of sealing the back end, so you're not going to beat him that way. He's got good arm strength. He's got good grip. He's good moving off the line. He does a solid job as hands. He could work on the hands. Like, he's no E. Honda out there. You know what I'm saying? But he got good handwork. I think, like I said, I told you there's at least 5 guys that are first-round picks.
Right.
Okay? Depending on what they need, what teams need, we've seen guys creep up. Like Broderick Jones crept up. Like, we've seen guys creep up. So there's a chance he could sneak into the first round. Who's
the cat from Tennessee? Right?
Jones. Darnell Wright.
Darnell Wright.
Yeah. He creeped up after the Senior Bowl, right? Yeah. So, like, there's a lot of, like, chances for this gentleman. If not end of the first round, mid-second round. Like, I could see somewhere at the top, you know what I'm saying? Between 32 and 48. Somewhere in that.
And that's great value.
Yeah. So
100%.
I like him. And then Hall, listen, he's not, in my eyes, I don't have him in the same class as that gentleman. I'm having a blank right now for some dumb reason.
From where?
Oh, Jackson. I'm like looking all over the dock here. Hall to me is not as versatile as Jackson. He's not as big as Jackson. But I do think Hall could be a end of day 2 pick for sure. So I think he can sneak in there, and he's a dude. Like, he He's not the dude. He's not a top dude, but he's a bottom end of the top 15, maybe.
Okay.
So,
all right. Well, there's a lot of talent here at Ohio State. There's a lot of talent in the Big Ten. If you're somebody who's watching at home, there's a school you think that could rival any of the schools we mentioned. Number 4, Wisconsin. Number 3, Penn State. Number 2, Michigan. Number 1, Ohio State. And again, this is people that are draft eligible in 2023. We're talking day 1, day 2 talent. Let us know in the comments. Let us know who we missed. But Nino, this has been an absolute blast. I'm not sure which conference we're talking about next week. We're going to continue this series. We're going to let y'all know so you can, and for some bragging rights, for those of you who are fans, and I want to see all of you, I want to see you arguing in the comments about what we're right about, what we're wrong about. And, you got anything to say to everybody? Let them know kind of what you got going on over the next few days before we close this thing out.
Tomorrow we're dropping a Texas Tech breakdown for P2P, me and Boomer. I got a Michael Pittman Dynasty Diamonds coming out soon.
He's on my SFB 13 roster.
Yeah, we've been talking about Michael Pittman.
Yeah.
I'm going to give you some key points on why I think Michael Pittman's going to have a riser year. But I don't know breakout. I think he already broke out. I think a lot of people forget about that because he had bad quarterback play last year. But we're going to touch base on that. But yeah, listen, stay tuned to T2T. We got a lot of things in the work. Like I said, we got these camp battles we're going to be doing. My man Coach he's a mad scientist when it comes to like the Frankenstein League.
Yeah.
We got a special guy that joined the Frankenstein League this year. I don't know if Coach has dropped any of that information out there, so I'm not going to be in there. But it's growing.
I don't know if I should name drop. You know what I mean? Like
no.
Yeah, I kind of felt bad.
We got a gold medalist. Can we say?
Yes.
We have an Olympic gold medalist in the Frankenstein now.
This is our first time having like
a big name.
So like I didn't even put him in the whole league chat because I'm like protecting the guy. Like it's new territory for me. For us.
We're growing. It's growing. Everything's growing. Like shout out to all the viewers, the followers. We appreciate you all. It's been great. The growth has been rapid, and we appreciate it.
Yeah, we got 9 spots available in Frankenstein. So if you want to get in, reach out to me because this thing is filling up soon. We got 96 teams, and everybody's invited to come back the following year, and we grow the following year. And if you win it, you get to name one of the 3 new divisions next season. So
I just got some inside information before we got out of the green room. I'm not going to say anything, but it's a spicy one. So
yeah, that's all right. That's all I got to say. All right, we'll catch you all later.